Welcome back. Still the morning show here on the Rise News. And we're moving over to education now. We'll talk about Nigeria's education
system has been in crisis for many years, and the situation has recently been made worse by frequent strikes staged by students, faculty, and teachers. Much of the difficulty lies in the fact that the sector is poorly funded.
You're very right, Shaitan. This results in shortages of material and human resource for education, lack of qualified teachers, a brain drain from the public sector, few instructional inputs, shortage of classrooms, and a host of others.
It's really sad because Nigeria just turned 29 and there's a need to review the education sector of the country and proffer viable solutions for a better future. 59. Excuse me, and to join us now for a review of Nigeria's education sector after 59 years of independence is Samuel Taiwo Brown, a United Kingdom-based education and political strategist.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a pleasure.
Good morning, show.
It's a pleasure. After 59 years, is our education still effervescent like a 29-year-old, or it's crawling like a 99-year-old?
First of all, I'd like to greet Nigerian, happy independent, 59 years independent, and I salute all Nigerians, all Nigerians, and I hope we can be better. Coming back to your question, after 59 years of education crisis that we have, we need to find a solution to a better education standard in Nigeria. Number one, we need to revalue our value system. Like in England, anywhere around the world, they always have a value like rule of law. We need to look at individual liberty. We need to look at respect for faith and all that. But put that aside, we need one thing. 1969, I was 9 years old when we have educational reform system, where we all come with the stakeholders. I think it's time for us to do that again. I urge the federal government of Nigeria to look at that. And we bring all the stakeholders together and work out the melodies, what is not working, the crisis, and the way forward. When I talk of the stakeholders, we bring in the legislators, we bring in the legislators, union reps, everybody. Let's sit in one room. Let's look at what is working and what is not working. And then we cut down the most important things, why the corruption have eaten into every fabric of Nigerian institution, and the way forward. That is the way we can do that. I did that in Malawi country. And look at Malawi. Well, people might argue Malawi country is lower in population than us. But most of the Malawians' education is a bit better than we can. And after that, we can write our own policy on new Nigeria, the way forward for Nigeria.
Okay, so I just want to get my numbers right here. In the past 4 years, the federal government has invested 350 billion naira in the education system. However, when the budget for 2019 was put forward, we realized that we still fall short of the 15% that was suggested by UNESCO. Do you think the problem here is funding?
It's the experts. We haven't got the experts on the ground. With due respect to those who are few ones which we have politicians still working on this. We need to bring in the experts to man this education system. Our education system, we know, outside the crisis, people put in money for universal basic education. Where is it right? And they are a very important institution. We need to work as a collaborative with national orientation. We need to work. Now I've proposed to the federal government of Nigeria as well. We have a lot of primary and secondary schools in Nigeria that haven't brought standard. And I urge Nigerian parents to bring a board that will regulate that. The first thing is, there are a lot of issues in that. I've called the federal government to look at an office that will coordinate that. It's called Office and Standard in Education. It's just for the primary and secondary. And there we change our curriculum. There we change the values from there. Because what these children are up to is, okay, I want to be a Yahoo boys when I grow up. But when we go back, teaching them citizenship, how to become a citizen of Nigeria, corruption is not part of us, so they can correct the adult when this is being done. So those are back to your question regarding the funding. We're putting money in the basket. It's not enough. Foreign donors are bringing money to Nigeria on that. Again, what we found out is through corruption. People won, and when they say they're going to Abuja, we're going to Abuja. I'm not going to Abuja to count bridge, but to make money.
Oh, okay, I just wanted to take you up on this. How do we do that where, and I'm saying this now, I'm going to wear your own hat as an APC member in the UK. And how do we do that where UNICEF still says over 10 million pupils are out of school, and where we have a school feeding program to bring people into school, and a social investment program that has knock-on effect on education that hasn't worked? But you said, you've advised the government many times. I mean, what did you tell them?
Yeah, because...
And why is it that some of your ideas are not being put to use? Since you're a strong member of the APC. So I think if you are part of the APC, you should be able to...
I remember many of the youths advocated for me to be the Minister of Education and all that. But Minister of Education cannot be by ballot. It's party members. And I support...
But you're a party member. Why have they not made you the Minister of Education yet?
The issue there is the fact that we all need to think out of the box. Education revolves all the time. We think out of the box. I have a different idea to NYSC. I have a different idea to making the youth, to develop the youth in Nigeria. But we are still working on 1960s. We haven't even touched the millennium already of our thinking. And I have said this, I'm going to come back to that, don't worry. I've said this many times. For us to have a better education, we need to regenerate the northern part of Nigeria. We need to return. When I go to Victoria Island, I see the Almajiris children. Those are future Boko Haram. We are not taking care of them. We need to take care of them. And I'll take you, in England, we write policy to
how do we take care of them? Only recently,
8 states.
There was a case in Kaduna of a certain school, rehabilitation school, that was a hellhole for some student. And you saw what happened there. How do you take care of them?
Well,
I mean, if that's a school, and it claims a school running in this country, how do you...
I believe in a holistic Nigeria. I believe Nigeria. If I'm in Southerner or Northerner, I should come to South and breathe as one Nigeria. I believe I'm a federalist. I believe in one Nigeria. I believe that we can do that. And I thank the federal government of opening up a new ministry, which we've just set up. But the problem I have is put the experts in. Who can do this job? Who can come in? But we always think about the politician, party, and all that. We've written a lot of policy from England. And I'll tell you that. If they can just open the book and look at it. We're reaching about how we can move in the education.
But don't we have a policy fatigue already? I mean, you heard Charles Soludo and Bismarck Rwanda say yesterday that we have a policy fatigue, and we've written policies from England. How has that changed a lot of people? I mean, and I'm sorry to offend your sensibility. England is not even a standard when it comes to education.
No.
I mean, if we're talking of policy from places like Singapore, countries on the pizza ratings, countries like Estonia, I'll say they're standards. Not even England. No, England is not the standard.
We can still work on it. This is what I'm saying to you. We're saying the same thing in a different way. With the way education system in Nigeria is that nobody wants to be the one. We need to bring the expert in. Expert. I inspect schools in England, but I'm not going to use the standard, the yardstick, when I'm inspecting schools. You've heard about many schools falling down because they're not looking at the area which I will look at, and we've written that. And the other thing we're talking about, there's alternative education that we need to look at. Infrastructure. I remember in the 60s, I'd drink milk in Lagos school. I'd have meal in the afternoon at Christchurch. You want to have a meal. Oh, we'd be eager to have that hot meal in the afternoon. Porridge and all that, We look forward to that. That program is coming up. I'm one of those who advocated that the local government should be our LG.
But that school feeding program, Shaita, you want to come in here?
I'm curious, because you've kept reiterating experts.
Yeah.
Now we have the private sector took it upon themselves to say, you know what, we're going to focus on this. Now, we find it that a lot of private schools are doing better than public schools. I went to a private school myself, and as a, I knew that once I went in, I was going to spend 4 years and I was going to be out. And you can even tell the difference between a private school graduate and a public, a public school or even a federal school graduate. You keep saying bring in experts. How about we collaborate with some of these private schools to see what we can do in the public school sector? And also, if I might also add, we had a case of Governor Nasser El-Rufai, taking his 6-year-old son to a public school. Is it possible to have a policy put in place where government officials must send their children to public schools so that they can focus on making public schools better?
It depends on the value we put on them. Thank you very much. I take that on board as well. The most important thing regarding the publicity, in many schools, in some of the developing countries which I've worked with, we attach a private school to about 5 local schools, so they become better. Yeah, they're paying fee, but at the same time, the government wants you to mirror about 6 or 7 that is called networking with those schools. That's what I wish the government of the day should come on board. Not only that, I wish we could have interactive session. Believe you me, I have the youth. We are distracting our youth in Nigeria, and there's a different route to our youth development as well. I'm not taking over the Ministry of the Youth. He's doing fantastically because he's new. I can't bribe him. But we need to think about our youth. The feeding program is going fine, but we need to work better. But we get in there. Don't let us trash everything. At least we have a government who have said, okay, let's have a new ministry that's going to look for this, this, this. And we hope we bring the experts into this government, this portfolio.
All right. We'll go for a quick break now, but you said you wish we had private schools that could hold public school by the hands, but I don't wish that. I wish we could be at least like a Rwanda, that private schools started shutting down because public schools were very, very good. What's your reaction to that? I mean,
we can be as great Nigerians. We are great.
Just a minute. I'll take your full reaction. We'll come back from this quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Right. Still, the Rise Morning Show, the last lap of the show, and we've got an education expert, that keeps calling for the need for experts,
experts.
In our education system. So you had what over there?
I mean, we were talking, during the break about how the...
And I was particularly talking about how I wish for Nigerian schools to at least start up from the Rwanda level where public schools got so good that private schools were shutting down. I mean, you want to add to that, Shita?
Yes, definitely. And then also looking at the fact that I was complaining, it's very personal to me because it's painful when I see, the children of our policymakers and our political figures being sent outside Nigeria to receive, a better education. That just shows, one, they know that the education is awful. And second, they're not willing to invest back in there. And if we transition back to the case of Governor El-Rufai, who had done the same thing, you were saying that it might not necessarily be the case here.
Yes, thank you very much. I'll take that point again. With the El-Rufai bringing this child to school, that's publicity. At least it's a start. I will recommend that as a start. Not only that, even if they were in publicity, one day the news media will catch up on him and say, oh, look, El-Rufai's son is in this school. It's a start. Let's applaud them for that. And with a lot of money, and I'm going to go back to you, in the sense, Rufai, in the sense that we haven't gone to that side where everybody will say, I belong to one Nigeria, and my school would be better. And we need to give the school back to the community to be competitive. I love you out there. If you look at, I hate using America or England as an excuse.
They're not standards.
They're not that standard.
They're not standards in education.
But if we have a standard in education, in primary and secondary, believe you me, that was set up. We have something like that in England called Ofsted. They have that in many African countries now, which are advocated for. It's not to close down the private school because all the private schools, we don't want this, we don't want this, oh, we're going to lose this school. You have to meet the standard. You have to meet the standard. When I walk around Lagos, when I walk around Abuja, I can tell you a good school or a bad school right from outside. The standard shows in there. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Not only reading, in our days, we used to write, dictate. We're now e-learning. In most of the African countries which I've visited, they're doing e-learning, not writing books. It takes you, there are different learning methods we all teach our kids, especially in their classroom, who can't take notes. But now with e-learning, it's making learning more palatable, making our thinking. And again, we need to change our curriculum as well. Our curriculum is not teaching citizenship. Go to many of the countries around the world. They're now teaching history of the country.
We don't have history in our curriculum in this country for the past 10 years.
I totally disagree that we should bring back history into Nigerian curriculum. The curriculum should be balanced in reviewing our education system. It should be balanced history. A citizen of Nigeria, Americans, well, the other thing is when you teach Americans, they believe holistically in their values. Teach them values.
What is the Nigerian value?
I will call fews, but if we can take United Nations values, one, democracy, pure democracy, I have to vote, not cheat during the voting. The rule of law, I have to obey the rule of law. When not the politician obeying the rule of law, the politicians need to show that I'm obeying the rule of law, notwithstanding. Mutual respect for religion. That's another rules we need to inculcate into our school system. Not only that, the last one, which is citizenship. We need to go back to our drawing board and say, by the time you finish, you're going to learn how to be a pure Nigerian. Instead of demarcating, oh, you're from the north. We need to bring back ourselves together. We need a government that is put in there. And President Muhammadu Buhari is doing that in a nutshell. But give us time. Give us time to work on this. And we, the citizen, don't just sit there, drive your House of Reps, your senator, that this is what you want. The first we need standard to renovate our education, to renovate our education system. We need to put standard in it. We can shout from now to kingdom. We're not looking at 100% standard. Let's get to 60% of standard. That when you go into the school, this is what you're going to get. And again, once you have Nigeria offers standard in education, no idiot will come to you and say, oh, there's light there. You have to pay us 300 because of the corruption.
But I mean, this question comes to mind. You said we need to put all of these things in place, but we look at our leaders in society, and I'll give you an instance. I mean, because our leaders teach a lot, you know, to primary school people. Take, for instance, a primary school pupil in my village in Odobolu that aspires to be a leader someday soon and sees a senator slapping a woman in a sex toy shop.
Okay.
I mean,
that's not good leadership.
I mean, but leadership is part of the things we should teach in civics development.
Yes, of course.
And in the past 60 years, because we're reviewing this for 59 years, Nigeria, 59 years, that has been the call in Nigeria. So who are teaching the leaders?
Again, we haven't got to that yet. We haven't got to that yet. It's got to a stage where we must have standard in everything we do. The standards need to be taught.
So are you saying that generation is gone already?
We're just 59 years old. America is 200 plus, but it will get to that stage. As you can see, you've had a lot of kidnapping going on in Nigeria.
Well, Singapore is about the same age as Nigeria, and the education system is better.
Not that. There's still corruption.
But when did Singapore get independence from Malaysia?
Well, when they get the corruption, it's still the same.
Around the same time.
You can't measure that.
But you can't measure the education system. So when you say we are 59, Singapore is about the same age, but Singapore is top 3 on PISA score. You know PISA score?
PISA scores, yeah.
The top education countries in the world. Singapore is top 3.
Because
and
the value, again, let's come back to it. I've just said it. The value they put into education in everything. In Nigeria, we still need education to the adults. Okay, people talk about, oh, the pollution. We are the polluter. I've seen people throwing beans, things on the thing. And then when it rains, you say, oh, we've got flood. Where is the education? Recycling. That's another public education. Orientation have a lot of job to do on there, but we don't give enough money to the orientation department to educate Nigerians. We need adult education as well. We need not only in the education sectors. And my take, my brother, let me just say it. Everybody have known that for many years is the Nigerian youth. Our Nigerian youth I cry for Nigeria because
what is wrong with the Nigerian youth?
Oh, the youth, we're not taking over our youth. We need to look at a different measure of bringing Nigerian youth to the upfront. If not, they're going to bite us. That's why we have the Yahoo boys, and that's why we are kidnapping. And now Nigerian youth need to be catered for. Now, I'm begging the federal government of Nigeria, let's look at Nigerian youth. I'm not taking over the ministry, but I'm not talking now about the minister or the ministry. Our Nigerian, we need to look at alternative measures.
What are those alternative measures?
Alternative measures, thank you very much, you mentioned that. It's called apprenticeship scale. I've written to David Mack many years ago during the Obasanjo administration and Yar'Adua administration. We, in England, when this came on board, I worked with Tony Blair in the election. We all put our children into NYSA program. After NYSA, what did they do? They're home 10 years. But I want Nigerians to think about this. Imagine there's an NYC, there's something called apprenticeship scheme. What you do at the end of the year, you go and recruit them into power. You have graduates with brains who can use this. Put them into a retraining program, 2 years. Instead of collecting money, the government pays them half of it. The minimum wage is 30,000. Government pays 20. The employer pays 20 or 30 to make it workable. You reprogram our graduates. When I finish school...
But a lot of people argue that the government is doing that with schemes like Empower and the likes.
Yeah, because it's not transparent. It's not transparent. That's why.
So you believe
that's
the government is not transparent?
No, the program is not transparent. Again, if you look at the bottom line, it's corruption again. But when you put the key people who have the idea, who have the brains, who originated the scheme, working on that. I know what some of us was discussing this. Someone said, oh, yeah, some senator would come in and say, oh, you need to put about 5 of my relationship. No. That's corruption there.
Okay.
Go back
into we need to wrap it up here. I mean, it's been an exciting conversation. And thank you so much. You've been an education consultant for so many years. I really appreciate Mr. Sheikh being here.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm grateful and I so great Nigeria. Nigeria will be better.
Amen.
That's my hope.
All right.
Well, that brings us to the end of the show today. I am Shaiton Atigari.
And I'm Rufai Sini, a very proud Nigerian. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching.